David Benavidez, bro. David Benavidez is doing everything in his power to make that Canelo fight happen. And he just messaged the face of boxing, His Excellency, Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh, if they are willing to help make the fight with David Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez. Because Canelo Alvarez just stated his price. So the fight can be made, you just gotta pay him. And not just that, David Benavidez stated if he fights Canelo and he loses to Canelo, he will give his entire purse to charity. So before we start calling Canelo a duck, let's see if this was a business move or he is really ducking. And this is the topic that we are going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, if you guys are not subscribed, please punch and knock out that subscription button. That way you'll never see it again. And ding that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my new boxing videos. Alright guys, let's get to the round. Ding ding. Okay champs, let's get started. In an interview, Canelo has stated that David Benavidez does not bring anything to the table, and the only thing that he does for him is bring 25 pounds on fight night. Even if that is true, David Benavidez has been Canelo's mandatory for years, and this fight has yet to happen. But I also do know that boxing is a business. He's probably trying to do a Mayweather-Pacquiao. Let him marinate and make the most money out of it. But the longer Canelo takes, the more dangerous the fight will be against Benavidez. And I also do remember that David Benavidez was the champion at one point, but he got stripped twice. I believe the first time he got stripped because he tested positive for the party drug, the one that gives you energy. Similar to Starbucks, but not as strong. Over here in San Bernardino, we call it Strawbucks. Do you guys get it? So that time was totally his fault, but the second time was because he could not make weight during a time when nobody could go out and they had to fight in the bubble. But he gets a pass for that one because at that time it affected the whole world and nobody could do anything about it. And a lot of boxers were not fighting due to a lack of ticket sales at the gate. No one was able to go watch the fight live, so the gate money was non-existent. So they had budgets on their pay, and the only way they would be getting paid was pay-per-view sales or sponsorships. And I remember all the gyms were closed and it was hard to stay fit. And I know a lot of people that gained some weight because there was nothing really to do. Not me guys, I kept working out as you could not show your face at that time, so your body counted a lot. So I'm sure if David didn't lose his titles, he probably would have had the Canelo fight already. It just sucks that everything played out like that. I believe the fight will be good right now, but the longer he takes, the more Canelo declines and the better Benavidez gets. And I also remember at one point Canelo wanted to go up all the way to cruiserweight to fight Makabuk. But I remember when this happened, Alexander Usyk heard this and he challenged Canelo. He said he was willing to go back down to cruiserweight to fight Canelo. So I'm sure Canelo waited for Usyk to go to heavyweight so he can bust that move. Because if I can remember, Usyk stated to Canelo, if you really want a challenge, don't fight Makabuk and fight him. But I do not believe Canelo ever answered Usyk. But Canelo already fought in higher weight classes at 175 against Kovalev and Bivol. And he beat Kovalev and knocked him out, even though I thought Kovalev was winning up to that point. And as we all know, Bivol beat the ish out of Canelo. That fight was not even close. And I know you guys already heard the sparring stories between Benavidez and Bivol. Benavidez beat the ish out of Bivol in sparring. And I believe Benavidez is naturally a bigger man than Bivol, Plant, and Kovalev. So I thought it was a miracle that Benavidez could make 168 and still perform well. And I do see a better version of David Benavidez at 175. And I see David beating and stopping everybody at 175 except maybe Beterbiev. But I still think he beats Beterbiev, but he just doesn't stop him. But I can also see Beterbiev dropping David Benavidez a couple of times. But if Canelo is complaining about David Benavidez rehydrating 25 pounds on fight night, I'm wondering how many pounds did the 175 fighters rehydrated to? Kovalev and Bebo, and how many pounds did Canelo rehydrate himself? I don't really pay attention to that, because all of these fighters are naturally bigger than Canelo and are expected to rehydrate more. But I believe Benavidez is naturally bigger than all of them, and he almost rehydrated to a heavyweight against Bubu Andrade. That's why in my other video I stated that David Benavidez can probably fight Alexander Usyk at a catchweight or at cruiserweight, because that is just him rehydrating. I'm pretty sure if he lifts weights, he can make a heavyweight. I am sure he will lose some speed, but the heavyweights are not known for speed, they are known for power. And there's not a Muhammad Ali or a David Haye, those guys were fast. Canelo also said that he could make $60 million fighting just about anybody. And that's when he said Benavidez does not bring anything to the table except for those extra 25 pounds. So when Canelo said if there was a promoter out there willing to pay $150 to $200 million for the fight, he will fight the next day. I believe he was sending that message to Turkey Al-Sheikh, because Canelo knows that no promoter in America can give him that guarantee, and Turkey Al-Sheikh can. I'm sure for people in America to give Canelo that guarantee, it will have to come out of their pockets. Then the promoters, to get their money back, they will have to hope for the pay-per-views to do well. I am sure the gate will do very well and it will sell out very fast in a couple of days. You cannot steal the gate money, but you can steal the pay-per-views. And in order to pay Canelo's guarantee of $150 million, they will at least have to sell 2 million pay-per-views at $84.99 a pop. And if for some reason Canelo doesn't accept that and he wants 200 million, they will have to sell 3 million pay-per-views. And that will barely leave anything for anybody else, so the fight is not even worth making. David Benavidez will fight basically for free. So knowing all of this, I think Canelo did a business move, not a duck. Now if Turkey offers him $200 million and he does not take the fight, then now is a duck, because we all know Canelo's price, which is $150 to $200 million to fight David Benavidez. So in a recent post, David Benavidez messages Turkey Al-Sheikh and tells him, Turkey, let's bring this fight to Saudi Arabia, and this will be the biggest Mexican versus Mexican fight in boxing history. And there's no better place to fight than in the kingdom. And it will be for the whole world to see, and it will be for pride and glory. And he says he fights for greatness, not for money. And if he loses to Canelo, he will give his entire purse to any children's foundation of his liking. But when he beats Canelo, he will still use a big amount of that purse to feed the children around the world. He says he is the people's champion and will continue to fight the best, and you got his word. That's right, let's go Team Benavidez, and I will definitely buy this pay-per-view. And especially since Benavidez is a stand-up guy, feeding the children and everything. Now that is a people's champion. My respect for Benavidez just shot through the roof. I don't think I've ever heard any boxer do that, except the closest, maybe Ryan Garcia. He said, let's save the children, but I don't believe he said anything about donating any of his purse to the children. But I could be wrong, because he does bring out a lot of videos that sometimes it's hard to keep up with him. And I might have missed that one. But I do know he said that he was gonna sell t-shirts saying save the children, and I'm still waiting for him to do that so I could buy one. And I do know he said that will go for the children's cause. Do you guys think Canelo Alvarez did a duck move or a business move? And that he cannot get that guarantee here in the States. If he's going to fight the most dangerous fighter in David Benavidez, might as well get paid. Comment below and I'll write to everyone back. If you guys like the show, subscribe, like the video, share the video, and that's it for me, champs. I gotta roll.